Now, I think one of the challenges that we all face around church safety and security is training. And it's one of the reasons why over a decade ago, I started our annual conference, which was called Securing Your Place of Worship. And that started as being an in-person one-day training. And then during COVID, as the world was moving online, we took Securing Your Place of Worship to become an online church training event. And one of the cool things about doing that is that we realized that not only we reached a wider audience, I think at last year's conference we had 26 or 28 states represented, but one of the biggest things we found is that there was a real market for those that can't afford expensive flights, they can't afford hotels, they can't afford all the other travel expenses that come with it. And another big reason is that some people can't afford to take the time away from their day job. And I know a lot of you are volunteers, and I think we've all been to conferences where we're looking at our watch thinking, I'm here listening to this, which is good, but my work back home is piling up. So we found a real need to fill the void for an online church safety and security conference. And this year on Tuesday, September 9th, from 9 a.m. US Central Time to 5:30 p.m. US Central Time, we are going to host our online church safety and security conference. And what I wanted to do today is just walk you through who some of those speakers are and what to expect. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to follow along as I take you through the website. If you are listening through podcast, I will do my best to make sure that you know exactly where to go. So just to go over a couple more details then. So we call it Securing Church Operations. No, we don't. We call it, that's the name of my book. We call it Securing Your Place of Worship. It has been a long week, everybody. It's been a long week. It is called Securing Your Place of Worship. This is our 10th annual event, and it's Tuesday, September 9th, fully virtual and online. So where do you find the event? So if you go to worshipsecurity.org, worshipsecurity.org. That is where we keep all our online church training and security programs. So when you go to worshipsecurity.org, and I'm going to do this on the YouTube channel if you are watching as we go, you will see a tab that says conference. When you select that conference, I'm going to do this live as we go through it now. When we go through there, you'll see that it opens up with the dates, with the times, and it says secure your spot. It talks about why it's a bespoke conference. We talk about flexible scheduling so you can see what subjects are of interest to you. Convenient and accessible. You'll be able to watch this. We host it through Zoom webinars. So you'll be able to watch it on your phone, on your iPad, on your work computer. It's going to meet you where you're at. We tried to make it highly interactive with discussions. We really encourage a lot of conversations in the chat. That's your opportunity to network, to get to know people. If you join our VIP membership, you'll get access to the videos for 12 weeks. Afterwards, after this 12 weeks, the videos then go into our Video Vault membership. And there's a lot of networking that occurs. You'll get the opportunity to meet people from different states and talk to them in the chat and then reach out to them. This conference is about you and it's about putting you in contact with the right people. So you go to worshipsecurity.org, you click the conference tab, and as you move towards the middle, it gives you the online conference schedule. I'm just going to go through this sort of a little bit briefly, and I think I'm going to break these presentations down more one at a time. So the day starts with legal trends in church safety with an attorney called Ginny Cronin. Now, Ginny is a good friend of mine. She's actually my attorney that supports us with the Worship Security Academy, with Kingswood Security Consulting, which is my risk management consulting, and then Decision Deck. So if I have any questions, Ginny is the person I'm going to go to. She is one of the country's leading experts in non-profit safety and security. That is all she focuses on, is non-profit law. Now, there are so many areas within a church where often we get it wrong, from the very basic to churches using music without paying any royalties or licensing of that music, to real big things such as, when there could be child sexual misconduct, a mass shooting, or when something goes wrong around crisis communications. We need someone to step in and help us. So what Ginny's going to cover during her segment is legal trends in church safety and security. What is she seeing across the US, and how can that help you? Legality, legality, legality. Often an area which is overlooked, but Ginny's going to fill us in on some of those trends and best practice to how to stay safe. Now, the next presentation is going to be from Dr. James Densley. Now, if you've followed me for a while, you know that James is also a fellow Brit here in the US. He's also, like me, became a British American a few years ago. He has his doctorate from Oxford in England in street gangs. And then when he emigrated here to the US, he's become more known now around mass violence, mass shootings, targeted violence. And he wrote a best-selling book, I think it was in 2022, with Dr. Gillian Peterson, called How to Stop a Mass Shooting Epidemic. If you're not familiar with the work of the Violence Project, incredible. They've researched every mass shooting in the US from 1966 to the current day. There's 4 trends that all these mass shooters have in common. I won't spoil it for you now because I'm sure James will go into it. There is a previous video that I've done in this podcast talking about what those 4 things are. This was a DOJ-funded research, and they've since gone on to expand their database from not only mass shootings, but they've now broken down into subcategories. One of those is targeted violence, gun violence at houses of worship. So I know James will touch on that, but if you want to learn more before the conference, go to theviolenceproject.org, or just type in the Violence Prevention Project, and you'll see there's so much information there. There's graphics there. They paid a lot of money to have graphics made for you. It's all publicly available, and it has some of the best statistical data around mass shootings. So Dr. James Densley is going to be talking about the mass shooting epidemic, primarily in houses of worship. So next presentation then, managing risk and tackling church insurance. This is super important, managing risk. Why do we need to manage risk? Well, we have to admit, we have to come to a place where we understand that houses of worship are inherently risky because of the type of people that we serve. We all come to church. Raise our hands. Raise your hands now if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening in the car, raise your hands. We are all broken people. So many of us that work in safety and security are never surprised when bad things occur. But managing our risk through insurance is a great way to not only mitigate the future risk of liabilities, lawsuits, and things that can go wrong, but it also provides reassurance that we're actually doing things the right way. I've actually heard of a church in Chicago where a contractor was fixing their roof. He fell off the roof. He injured himself. He sued the church, and that church had to go out of business, so to speak, if you like, because they couldn't afford to pay the lawsuit. So that one lawsuit put the church out of business. I'm sure there's many others that you can think of or you can share with us. So the American Church Group, Tim Roddy right now, might be someone else from within that company, but the American Church Group are going to talk about managing risk and tackling church insurance, sharing some best practice. Now, I don't know if I've got my new book behind me, I don't. I know a lot of you in church safety and security. Everyone loves guns, and safety teams, and what type of gun do you have, Simon? And, what are you going to do? Super important, right? But, we've got to put it in perspective. Since 1966, mass shootings, which is FBI data 3 or more, there's been something like 6 or 7 mass shootings in houses of worship where 3 or more people have been killed. What is most likely is Maggie, who's 60 or 70 years old. She has a stroke. She has a heart attack. A kid runs into a glass window thinking it was a door. All these things. Medical is far more likely. So my good friend Alan Hughes, co-founder of Better Protectors from Florida, he's going to talk about building a medical response plan. I do a lot of vulnerability assessments at churches, and what do I find? They might have an AED, and I say, do you know how to use it? They say, no, Simon, it tells you everything you need to do. That's most probably not the right time, right, to be figuring out how the AED works when someone's having a heart attack. And yes, it has voice commands. Yes, it will tell you, but generally it's not the best time to test the skill when you're in the moment. So medical is far more likely than the active assailant. So it's something that we should all be prepared to do and all have a level of understanding. So Alan Hughes, co-founder of Better Protectors from Florida, he's going to be talking us through building a medical response plan for your church. Next, we have Monty Chambers, who is founder of if I can say the word, Momentum Access. So why is this really important for crisis communications? So his presentation is called Crisis Communications for Church Leader. He's a former police officer. He's focused now on training around crisis communications. And actually, at the recent FBSN, Faith-Based Security Network, we did an event in, where was their event this year? I've had so much travel, I forget where it was. Oh, San Antonio, Texas. So Monty is based in Missouri. He came to San Antonio, Texas, and I invited him during our masterclass to talk a little bit about crisis management. And I can tell you, everyone loved it. Everyone was gripped. He had everyone's attention. Crisis communication is so important. We see, let's use Jack Wilson for a second for White Settlement in 2019. What he did was incredible. When an armed gunman came to his church, he had to eliminate the bad guy. However, Jack did something like 16 interviews with the press post that incident. Most probably not the right thing to do. The recent shooting we had in Missouri, the guy there where he was shooting outside the church, someone ran him over, and then a church safety team member neutralizes a threat. Remember, neutralize a threat is the term for killing the bad guy. He did interviews days and hours afterwards. Most probably not a good idea. So crisis communications, whether it's a medical that's gone wrong, whether it's child sexual misconduct, or whether it's one of these big incidents which happen in your church, it's really important to understand who can talk to the press, how to talk to the press, what gets said, how do you manage your crisis communications. So Monty Chambers is going to be talking about crisis communications for church leaders. Super, super important. And as we move towards the end of the day, we're going to do a Q&A session. So one of the advantages of doing this online, again, is you get to meet a wide range of people. You can ask some questions in the chat, but we're going to do more of a curated question answer session. So once you register and sign up for the event, we will give you the opportunity to say, hey, what questions do you have? And we have Guy Beveridge, my good friend from Guy Beveridge Associates in Texas. Guy has got like 30 years in safety and security, from military to law enforcement to working with churches. Kristen Kimman works for Allegiant. They sell security hardware. And my friend Jim Howard from Trinity Security Allies in Florida. Jim also specializes in training houses of worship. We're going to do a curated Q&A session. So if you have any questions, you can bring them. And one of these experts between technology, running a program, and training, we can pretty much answer any questions. So I will be the moderator, and then we have 3 very experienced presenters and on the subject matter of church safety and security. And then the day ends with Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman. Now, this is the great thing. This is what I love about doing this online conference. Many of you know Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, former Army Ranger, his books are on the required reading list of West Point, accomplished author. He's done so many things, used to travel around with the Sheepdog security guys with Jimmy Meeks and Cole Chin, internationally known for his work on killing, on combat, on hunting, and all his other books. The cool thing about this online conference is many of you have never heard him speak before because it's expensive to get to his conferences, it's expensive to travel. We've removed all those barriers for you. You can just come along. You can be in your gym jams if you want. You can be at home on your couch and you can listen to him give a keynote about the bulletproof mind, and he'll then take some Q&A after. This is the beauty of having an online conference, is that you get access to speakers that ordinarily that you wouldn't hear and see. So that is the sort of the day. So we've got legal trends in church security, how to stop a mass shooting epidemic, talking about statistical data based on church crimes, managing risk, tackling church insurance, building a medical response plan for your church, crisis communication for church leaders. We're then going to do a Q&A session, and then Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman ends the day with the bulletproof mind. All of that is $89 for the VIP, and then it is $49 for general admission. So remember, you go to worshipsecurity.org. At the top there, you'll see the tab for conference. You will select that, and then it then takes you through. Oh, my system's just crashed. Let me just refresh it, see if I can get this to work. Okay, let's try one more time. This is the beauty of doing stuff live, right? Things don't work. And I just clicked secure your spot, and it went through to a bad internal server error. So some system must be down. But anyway, we will plod on as normal. So there are then two ways that let me just stop sharing my screen here for a second. You can have me. There you go. So there are two price points for this conference. One is $89 for our VIP. By becoming a VIP, you get a signed copy of one of my books. More than likely, that'll be my new Amazon best-selling book, How to Survive a Mass Shooting. It got to number 4 on the Amazon bestseller list, and it is still the number 1 new release in its category. So I appreciate everyone that's already purchased that book. And don't forget to leave a 5-star Amazon review if you purchase that book. So if you join the VIP, you'll get a signed copy of one of my books mailed to you. You get more access to the speakers. You can give us your questions, and we will get the speakers to answer those live during the conference. What else do you get? You get access to the videos back for 12 weeks. Some people like to come to the conference live, and it doesn't, they don't really worry too much as to whether they get the playback. But the VIP, you'll get access to the video playback for 12 weeks post the conference. Then after that, if you are a Video Vault, our membership, the videos will then be put inside the platform. So this conference is September. So October, November, December, most probably January is when the videos will appear inside the Video Vault membership. But if you want access to the videos straight after that conference, select that VIP. There's also better prizes. Most of our presenters have books. They've donated prizes. You will get better prizes for being the VIP, and that is $89. Now, the general admission, still incredible value. You get access to that 7 hours of training. You don't get access to the video playback. However, post-January, if you wanted to, you could join the Video Coach membership, and the videos will be placed in there. You get prizes still. There's still some incredible prizes, books, courses, meetings with people. There's a lot of things that we're giving away. Decision decks you'll get. Maybe not quite as good as the VIP, but there's prizes then to give away, and you don't get a signed copy of one of my books. So those are the two options. VIP is $89. You get access to the videos on playback. You get some really cool prizes. You get to ask questions of our presenters, and then the general admission, if you don't worry, not too concerned about having the videos on playback, and you're not concerned about prizes, Jay, just give me the content, then the general admission for $49 is for you. One of the cool things, though, about having the videos access back is what a lot of churches then do is then stream to their church, and they'll invite people in, do a watch party, and then work through some of the videos together. So that's a pretty cool way to use it. So if you're thinking, well, what would I do with the video playback, and should I go for the general admission or should I do the VIP? A lot of churches with the VIP, they will bring their laptop, they will stream to their church, a big TV screen, get guys and gals together, get some food, and they'll do a watch party and then discuss. That's a really cool way to use it. So Again, Tuesday, the 9th of September is coming up in less than 4 weeks. And again, fully virtual, all online. There are 2 packages, VIP or general admission. Would love to see you there. But for now, you stay safe, have a blessed day. And until next time, take care, everybody.